saw someone earlier, it really made me laugh. It said, Bielek, what a lovely bloke. He goes, we're going to dominate so much. He thought he'd give him a 1-0 lead just to give him a little bit more comfort.
Yeah. Well, Bielek's off and running. He's scored any this season. Want to put it in the right net, though. So welcome back to Small Little Lions FC, and Birmingham City have just had their first away fixture in League One against Wycombe Wanderers. And in this video, myself and Matt are going to discuss that, the performance, the result, and our experience of being at Wycombe Wanderers for the first time, actually, for both of us. So, Matt, obviously we were there. Great results. We got there, got our 3 points. So what's your reflection on the match?
So as you said, Dad, we were there. The sun was out. The Blues fans had the whole of the stand behind the goal. Really good atmosphere, and I felt like all of us did a really good job of getting behind the team and creating some new songs as well. I heard some new songs behind the stand that I hadn't heard this season. 'Cause obviously, we got some new players, and as I say, I felt like it was a really good atmosphere, and it was great to be on the road again, wasn't it? Following this fantastic,
yeah.
So really good game and really good result. You know, we come back with all 3 points and. I don't think 3-2 told the full story for me.
Not
and,
at all.
you know, if you look at the first half, Dad,
Yeah.
we had 83% possession.
Yeah.
And when the final whistle went, it was 74% possession. And, you know, what's Chris Davis doing to us? This is absolutely brilliant, isn't it? When was the last time you saw a Blues team completely dominate the ball, high, intense style of football? And, you know, with all due respect, at times Wycombe were chasing shadows. You know, we were passing it around them, and really good football to see. And as I said, I can't remember the last time I saw a Blues team that competent on the ball, passing it around. And it wasn't a perfect performance. I'm sure me and you, Dad, on this podcast are going to talk about some of the improvements. And fair play to Wycombe, they capitalised on some of our moments of sloppiness. But overall, I thought it was a great performance. We dominated the ball, and really, really encouraged that we seem to be every single game getting that a little bit stronger. I still think we're only in second or third gear. We've still got a few gears to crank it up, and I think the team still needs to gel a little bit more. But every single game that goes on, the more encouraged I'm getting.
Yeah, and I think you said that, and I completely agree with, is that, you know, that if you were to look at that result, you know, Wycombe 2, Birmingham 3, the result suggests a really close game. It wasn't close. We obviously witnessed the complete domination by Birmingham City. In fact, actually, we scored one of their goals. It was an own goal. And the other goal was just sloppy at the end of the game, which we'll get onto in a moment. But it was complete domination. Anything less than 3 points would have been absolutely ridiculous. Funny, which, you know, we were on the coach on the way home, and I showed you the Sky match report. And I think somebody's picked this up on social media as well. The Sky Match Report says that Wycombe bossed the first half. 82% possession we had in that first half. How could you possibly boss a game? They didn't. Whoever wrote that report either was late to the game or was a Wycombe fan. Yeah. We completely dominated that first half. And, it's shocking that, credible sources such as Sky Sports can actually write something like that. It really is really, really bad. What's interesting, Matt, as well, the starting lineup was exactly as we predicted it. Yeah. Anderson started, which was absolutely brilliant, and he was very good as well, very physical on the right hand side. And Emma Hansen came on the left. Obviously, Luke Harris, I think, was me that predicted he would be in that number 10 role. So that team got
a goal as well. Luke Harris, good to see him score.
He did, yeah. We'll go through the goals actually.
Also, that goal as well on the half volley. That's more difficult than it looks like to do. That's good technique. That is from Luke Harris to score that on the half volley. So
what I liked about that, and I liked about Alfie May's goal, is that, you know, the players that got into the positions to be able to do that. We'd never have done that last season. Yeah. Those two goals would not have been scored.
Well, Alfie May, if you look at the goal he scored in the first half, his intelligence, he sort of draws his run back, because he knows the ball's going to get cut back, and it lands him in the perfect position to get that rebound off the defender. So that, to me, is the instinct of a quality goal-scoring striker.
No, it was good. It was a good. That'll give him confidence moving forward as well.
What a player he is. He runs that line, don't he?
You talk about
Alfie May.
Alfie May, yeah.
Bags of energy. Just runs that line. And
interestingly, there was no Dembele on the bench and no Tyler Roberts. And the rule this year in League One, I don't know why, is you can only have 7 substitutes, which doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room, really. So Chris Davis, in his post-match interview, said that there was nothing sinister about that. It's just that he just didn't pick him. Tyler Roberts was there, but not on the bench, so he wasn't even a substitute as well. I was surprised to see Williamson on the bench, and glad he was there, obviously, because he scored as well. But yeah, very, very strong team, and I think for me, the key thing for me is that I'm not worried about us now going forward. I think we've got a lot of ball, a lot of domination, and I like what we're doing. I think we are going to get better as well as we go through the season. What concerns me, not really concerns me, but the bit that I think we need to get improve on, and which we gave Wycombe chances, as little possession as they had, we did give them chances when we made sloppy mistakes and give the ball away at the back,
Yeah.
or we got caught on the counter attack. And I think that's going to be um, a a theme all season. I think we're going to have lots of goals in our games. For hopefully, but I think we are going to be prone to conceding as well. So we are going to have to score lots of goals to win games like this one. But I'm hoping that this playing from the back. I think we did look good sometimes playing from the back, look really good. But we don't want to gift teams goals just because we want to play out from the back. Sometimes we have to be sensible. But overall, you can't complain about that performance. It was outstanding.
I thought we were outstanding. Real Chris Davies' style of football was really coming into fruition now, and I think we do still need time to click. I think what you said, Dad, we are getting better. We are creating more chances from open play, but it could still be more decisive. Again, just a small thing. We will get there on that.
Yeah.
I think bigger and more importantly for me is the sloppiness at the back a little
I
bit.
think in the first half, as good as he is, and he is a good player, and he's one of my favourite Blues players, and he's our captain, Christian Bieler, but he made a few mistakes in the first half, and really, I think with sharper strikers, they probably would have scored. I can think of a couple, because obviously we were down that end, weren't we, when they were attacking in the first half, and I could see a few things where we gave the ball away, Christian Bieler in particular, but I'm not criticising him overall because I think his performance was good. What I love about Christian Bieler, I don't know if you've noticed, he gets the ball as a centre half, but he tries to drive forward. That actually breaks through their line, and that really sort of creates a lot of space for other players as well. So I'm really, really impressed with that.
Because when you get caught playing out from the back, it's when you're too static. But what Bielek gives you is he pushes it through to the next line, doesn't it? So it makes us a little bit less vulnerable. However, against Wycombe, he did give the ball away. And there was one time in particular where he gave it away. I think it was Richard Kone came in, he just missed it or he just went wide, but it was a gift.
Yeah.
They possibly could have and should have scored that. And another thing of vulnerability for Blues. And by the way, we think this was an outstanding performance. We're just picking up on some observations of areas to improve and getting caught on the high press as well. And when, and people are saying, where's this high press? You can only press to a certain extent when you've got 84% possession. You can't press when you've got the ball constantly. But the times that we did press out of possession, sometimes it made us a little bit vulnerable at the back. Just a little few times of observations I noticed there. And again, we will get stronger at that as the season gets on. We just need to get that a little bit of a click going on moving forward. And if you look at their goal, we got caught on that right-hand side. So their left, our right, and coming in and
they should never be in that position in the first place. So they went 1-0 up again, completely against the run of play. And then let's talk about the goals. I mean, I thought the first goal was impressive for a number of reasons. Firstly, it was a fantastic. I can't remember whether it pinged the ball diagonal over to Ethan Laird, took it really well, and Ethan Laird took it past the defender, delivered a cross in, and obviously Alfie May on second attempt knocked it in. So really impressed with Ethan Laird, and I think that's what we want to see more of with him. We talked about the end product, didn't we, Matt? About he doesn't have enough of that. He was an assist there. He needs to do that more often, and fair play to him. He did that as well. Alfie May as well. If you get the ball to him in them positions, he's going to score. He really is a bags man, and I mean, 2 goals in 2 games in the league. He's going to get a lot of supply.
That's his bread and butter. That is, if he drops in the 6-yard box, he's snapping it up. That is Alfie May's bread and butter.
His work rate is phenomenal as well. Then obviously we get to So the first half ends with us with I think it was 83% possession. I've never ever seen, not just us, any team with that amount of stats. I'm sure there have been, but I just haven't seen it. 83%, and then the Sky reporter says that they bossed the first half.
Well, just on that, Dad, even their manager Matt Bloomfield did an interview this morning, and he said Birmingham remind him of Ipswich. We're kind of pushing. We're spending a decent amount of money. We're really pushing to get up the leagues. And he said there is no doubt Birmingham City will get promoted. So even Wycombe's manager has come out and acknowledged how strong we were. And it would have been silly to not to. And your team's been dominated with 83% possession in the first half and 74% possession overall.
Yeah.
It would be bonkers to try and defend that. We did dominate. They took advantage, fair play to them, of our moments of sloppiness. But I thought, as I say, moving forward, we were really, really good. On the ball, we were really good. In possession, we were really good. And that brings us nicely onto the second and third goal, Dad, for Blues. And I thought, I'm going to call him Thor, did a really good job when he came on. He sort of changed the dynamic of us moving forward. And Yokohama, I can never get the name. Yokohama.
Yokohama is a place, actually a city in there as well. But I thought
his pace.
That was really good as well.
He's got rockets on his legs. He's really quick player.
Well, Miyoshi came on and replaced Hansen in the 58th minute, and I thought that was a decent sign at the time because Hansen wasn't as effective as he could be. So I think for this match, I think it was probably the right decision to replace him at that particular point in time. I thought for the first 10 minutes of the second half, Wycombe disrupted us a little bit in terms of they didn't have any really effective attacks, but they stopped us playing for 10 minutes. But our fitness levels are off the radar, aren't they? I mean, they're completely off the charts. I mean, and that's what really done them because they just and the pinging the ball around in triangles like we did. They were just chasing. They must have been absolutely shattered after that game.
That's why I said in the start, chasing shadows because we really were pinging it around nicely. Yeah. And I've noticed it, Dad. Our fitness levels are so good. And against Reading, this happened. Didn't notice it so much against Charlton, but obviously that was in the cup. And then at Wycombe, about 75, 80 minutes, they look shattered. Yeah. Wycombe looks shattered. Reading looks shattered. And we're still doing that high intense style of football, even at that. So Chris Davis must have absolutely fitness levels to an absolute unreal level. Yeah. And you can really see it, can't you? We're grinding teams down and they've got nothing left in the tank in that final 10 minutes. And it really showed. But yeah, it really, really, as I say, from us and from a Blues perspective, this team is just something we haven't seen in my lifetime. I've never seen a Blues team in my lifetime play this style of football.
It's very, very impressive, isn't it? And, I thought as well, obviously we were down that half as well. We had a blatant penalty that Laird was tackled, and it was. And the referee actually put his whistle and then took it away. He was going to give it, but then he backed off, didn't he? So that should have been a penalty. It did look like a penalty to me. I know that if it's not, we do say so. You know on this channel that we are very honest about things, but it did look like a penalty to me. But of course, in this league, we ain't got the benefit of VAR and all that type of thing that the Premier League have.
We won. I'm going to move past it, but if I'm going to be brutally honest, I thought the ref made some pretty poor decisions actually on both sides. I think that's going
to be a theme, to be honest.
I think he was just poor overall for Wycombe and for Blues. I don't think the reffing was to a great level in this game. I'm just going to put that out there. But I read something, just quickly coming back to the goals and a bit of banter that I saw on social media, just to make the tone a little bit more lighthearted for a second. I saw someone earlier, it really made me laugh. It said, Bielek, what a lovely bloke. He goes, we're going to dominate so much. He thought he'd give him a 1-0 lead just to give him a little bit more comfort.
Yeah. Well, Bielek's off and running. He scored any this season. Want to put it in the right net, though. 64th minute, Leonard and Keshi Anderson were replaced by Williamson and Yokoyama. And that did make a difference because we scored not long after that, and that was our second goal, which that burst of pace from Yokoyama. He was right in front of us, wasn't it?
Brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely, he basically just burned past him, made a bit of space, crossed it in. You rightly say, Luke Harris was in a fantastic position, come winning. What a great goal that was. Yeah.
And also, I just want to not move past this second goal so quickly because I love the passion from Luke Harris when he scored. I love the passion for the players. Everyone was around and giving hugs and high fives and having that team spirit. And Chris Davis was bolting down the line with his passion. A really passionate moment in the stadium, which was just like, it's just brilliant. You can't get that feeling anywhere else bar a football game.
No.
And fair play to Chris Davis. I think he's done that brilliant job as a manager of reconnecting the fans and the club and the players. And I felt it being at Wycombe, especially when those goals went in front of us. Real good connection with the players and the manager. What a fantastic moment that was to be at Wycombe.
Yeah, good. Fair play to Luke Harris as well. Like I say, that will give him confidence moving forward, and I think that's a really important goal for him as well. And shows that he's a very industrious player. He works hard. He gets around the pitch, and to have a reward of a goal like that, fair play to him as well. And then we went 3-1 up with Williamson. The ball was crossed again from the right, went to Miyoshi. Miyoshi's shot was blocked, and it went to the edge of the box. What a finish that was!
Technique,
understated
technique again to take it there. And I thought it was going over. I was like looking. It just dropped under the bar. I mean, what a goal!
Fantastic finish as well. And it was, and that put us 3-1 up. And you think to yourself, wow, that's game over. And then, we were actually attacking again on the left hand side. They broke and lost the ball, and they went down our left. And they did and scored their goal exactly what we were trying to do a few seconds earlier. And that's something that the difference is that I think we still need in our team, because basically they literally went down, broke down. Good cross from the left. I think it was Giles, whoever his name is, who crossed it in from the left. And then there was Sam Vokes then for Wycombe to head it in to make it 3-2. But that's what I think we're lacking, because our attack a few seconds earlier, where we crossed it in from the left, was trying to reach Miyoshi. But of course, what happened was the cross came in and their player literally just shaved his head and just went over Miyoshi, and that's when they broke and scored. If we had a bigger player there that could have challenged for a cross, almost like a younger Yuki. I know Yuki was on the pitch, but obviously he need pace to get up there on quick breaks.
I think it was Yuki pinging it in. He happened to get quite wide for that particular moment, I think.
Well, I can't remember,
but
but it just made me think when I reflected on it, I thought, they've gone up the other end and done exactly what we were trying to do a few seconds earlier, and they scored. But they were able to do it because they had a big, tall centre forward waiting for the cross. That's something I think we need. We got Alfie May, who's obviously not the tallest. What we're lacking is a bigger striker that can be a bit of a target man when we need to have these set pieces, corners and crosses. I think that's what we could do with getting, and even Stansfield wouldn't provide that. All this hype about whether we get him, and obviously we're not getting him. So we need to be looking at a striker that's a bit more taller and someone who can be a bit more of a target man.
I don't think that's a bad idea, but I like the idea of a faster striker as well, someone with a bit of pace that can get in around the back. So the difference that Yokoyama made when he came on, that pace down the wing.
Yeah.
I would love to see a style of striker as well who can just make that cheeky little run in through the back. Because don't get me wrong, Alfie May, I love the guy. He's great. He's going to get us a lot of goals this season. I just think we need someone who's got a little bit more pace, who can. And we're playing this new style of football. We're not going to be lobbing it over the top as much anymore. But we need someone who can make that clever run off the shoulder. And he's off like a rocket ship. And I think we could do with some pace up front, personal opinion. So I think we need a striker, possibly two. And that opens the gates, Dad, for a more physical kind of striker for those games where you come across those really experienced physical centre-halves, your younger Yuki, and a really pacey player who can just get in at the back, really nippy, really
we've got
quick.
that. You've got Yokoyama might be able to do that. Obviously, he's young now, isn't he? And it depends on how he's going to be used and how he adapts. He's made a good start with a fantastic assist, hasn't he, as well? But I thought Cochrane had a good game as well. I mean, it's hard to pick out, players that were outstanding because I think they all had pretty good games. I thought, but Cochrane, every time I look at Cochrane, I think, to me, he seems to be one of the best signings, I think.
He's solid, isn't he?
Yeah, I like Leonard. Leonard went off in the 64th.
Leonard's my favourite.
Yeah,
he completely controls that game in the centre of the
Yeah,
park.
he took him off. And obviously, it's great that you can take players off like that and you've got players to come on. Obviously, 64 minutes, there's still plenty of the game to go when Leonard went off with Keshi Anderson. And fair play to Keshi Anderson as well, he looks really, really up for it, doesn't he? I think he was given that option. We took the 1 year on him. I think he's really putting a shift in, and I think he deserves his place in the starting lineup.
And Thor as well. Thor completely changed the dynamic of our attacking football when he came on. Yeah. And we said in the opening game, as I said, we're really honest on this channel, Dad. We thought his performance against Reading was slightly underwhelming, but we thought he might have been carrying a knock in that game because he didn't look 100%.
He went off again, by the way, at the end
concussion,
of the game.
It was a concussion.
Was it his? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we allowed a concussion sub. Because Williamson had a concussion. So hope he's recovering well actually from that. In all seriousness, because concussion can be a little bit of a pain, can't it? And I think. Is it a 3-day or 5-day minimum? You cannot play for an additional 5 days if you go off with concussion or something like that.
Well, that's okay because our next game isn't until the weekend.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just an observation there, and
little bit on Wycombe as well. It's obviously going to League One grounds. It's a very different experience, isn't it? So obviously, if you've never been to Wycombe before, we arrive and you're basically driving through an industrial estate, and the ground is at the end of an industrial estate, and suddenly the coach turns right into between industrial buildings, and we park at the back of these industrial buildings. Then we walk out, and it's a very sort of small ground, isn't it?
It is, yeah. 10,000, give or take, roughly.
Yeah, but I think the attendance was about 6,200, of which 1,800 were Blues fans, and it was. You could
hear it, couldn't you?
Yeah. One thing to the Blues as well. Get your ticketing sorted out. You ordered the tickets, didn't you? Almost like a week before.
Monday.
They were never delivered, and then Blues contacted you on the Friday saying that you'll pick them up on the coach. Got to the coach, knew nothing about it. Said, "Oh no, they're in a sealed envelope." So we had to go to the ticket office in Wycombe to pick the tickets up. So we were driving to the ground, thinking we're going to be watching it on the industrial estate, having a few beers in the beer tent outside on the industrial estate. But thankfully, Blues, the tickets were there. But please get it sorted out. That's not good enough.
No, it's not. No. It's not, especially with the demand for tickets this year. It causes a lot of stress, don't it? And me and you on the coach, and we do struggle sometimes if we don't know what's happening or where we're going and stuff like that. So we weren't stressed. We weren't sitting there shaking, but it was like, our ticket's going to be there when we get there. We're going to have to watch it on the coach on our phones,
Also, as well, just a bit of a shout out. We stopped off at Oxford Services on the way there, and a chap called George came over and had a chat with us. And obviously, he recognised us from the channel, so we said we'd give him a shout out. So nice meeting you, George. And there's also a guy behind us as well in the Wycombe end. He was talking to us
in the Blues end.
No, in the Wycombe ground.
Oh, okay.
But he was talking to us, and he said, "Oh, his dad likes our podcast," and he wanted to get a photo actually, but obviously we was all piling out of one entrance, and we didn't get to do that. So if you do see us again, and obviously we're happy to have another chat with you and do a photo for your dad if you still want that.
Nice lad. Nice
I
lad.
was sorry, I forgot to ask your name, but you know who you are. Yeah, good lad. Yeah,
And also the Wycombe ground, by the way. Modern football now, we have so many like Coventry, CBS, Middlesbrough ground, those kind of traditional bowls. And I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon of hating those stadiums, but then they are very samey. But Wycombe had that, because old school.
To be fair, they had a decent sized stand on the left hand side. We was in the away stand. The other two stands were single tier. They're very small.
But what I mean is, it just had an old school feel to it. It had like a 50s, 60s stadium vibe to it, and I quite like that character in stadiums. That's all I'm going to say on that.
It felt like a friendly club, and fair play to the Wycombe fans as well. That you could hear that you got yourself a drummer. We hate drummers, by the way, but you've got yourself a drummer, and your fans when you scored were up for it and stuff like that. But it was they did seem like decent fans, didn't they? So
I think a family-run club, are safe to say. It seemed quite friendly there. Everyone seemed quite nice. So fair play to Wycombe, and we're a polite, friendly podcast. So all the best, Wycombe, for the continued season.
We do wish you all the best. But 3 points, that's the main thing, the main objective, wasn't it? But and I think that, like you said, and we have to reiterate this, that 3-2 scoreline really didn't reflect. But that's football, because we could have played like that and still lost that game. We could have. We wouldn't have lost that game because we played so dominant. But we've been to games before when we've played half decent and come away with nothing.
Yeah. But again, this is no disrespect to Wycombe, but a slightly more aggressive attacking team could have made us be punished a bit more on our sloppy errors there, couldn't they? So
that's the takeaway. We've got to cut that out.
If we were playing a Huddersfield or at the minute Stockport or someone higher up in the league, rather than I've got off to a slow start, but a team experience at this level, we could have been punished a few times. So definitely problems to iron out. I think we will get there as we move through. We seem to be getting better every game. And I just want to say, Wycombe, they were poor. There's no point in denying it. They didn't quite live up to what I was expecting. I thought they were going to be stronger, especially being the home team.
That was down to us, though.
But it was, of course it was. We were quality. We definitely, showed our quality in possession on the ball. I've never seen anything like it as a Birmingham City supporter. But just one shout out for me from a Wycombe team, Kieran Sadler on the left-hand side. I thought he had a incredible game, actually, and he did cause us a few problems.
He scored. He not scored. He set up the. He's the one who crossed it for their second goal.
He was their one standout for me. But overall, a dominant performance by Blues, and I think a well-deserved 3 points with a few gaps that we need to iron out as we move forward.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree, Matt. And what do you think, Blues fans? Obviously, it's so encouraging to see that. But, always, not being negative, because there's very little to be negative about that. Always in the back of your mind, you think, we've got to cut out those, simple, silly errors that could cost us, and if we can get that done, we're going to do very, very well this season. We don't want to gift teams. It'll almost be like the Barry Fry era. In order to win a game, we probably need to score 5 because we'll concede 4. You remember the bandwagon of Barry Fry? As long as we score more than the opposition, we don't care. I suppose there's some merit in that. But it was a great game. Fantastic being there. Fantastic being around all the Blue Noses as well. The away support is absolutely amazing. The atmosphere was brilliant, and it felt like a real old school away game that we'd not experienced for a long, long time. So well done to all the Blues fans as well. So that's what we thought about the match. But we'd love to know what your thoughts are. This could be Birmingham City or Wycombe supporters. If you come across this video, they'd be more than welcome to hear your thoughts, not just on our team, but what you felt about your own team's performance. So pop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. If you did enjoy the video, then please don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on our social media channels before, make sure you pop over to our X page and our Instagram page, and you'll see the handles appearing on the screen right now. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future content all about Birmingham City. And myself and Matt will see you on the next video.